So if you got a nickname or something underneath your Zoom thing, you do not know how to change it, please check the host and she will change it, or I can change it for you. But please remain your camera off, or we will turn your camera off until the judge address your case. Thank you. Mr. Jones, you did not understand my instructions. Do you know how to turn your camera off? If not, I will turn it off for you.
You have to turn it off for me.
I will. Miss Charlotte, do you know how to turn your camera off? If not, I can turn it off for you.
I'm trying to turn it off now. What, your TV? No.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are you able to hear me? Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon,
Yes.
Judge.
All right. Is
How
courtroom
about you
2 on
today?
the line?
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. I see Miss Chancey's on the line, so I'm assuming we need to do a breakout with someone before we get started, or have we already done that interview?
Believe there was a private attorney for him because I didn't know. We just got the interim appearance for Mr.
Gonzalez.
Yes,
Okay.
so probably.
I'm on for Gonzalez.
I don't see Gonzalez on this calendar. What position? Is it two? Oh, Garcia Gonzalez. Okay, got it. All right. And you've already interviewed your client, I'm assuming?
I've not personally, but our office has had contact, yes.
Okay, so we're ready to go forward. Can we take that position first, please, at courtroom 2?
I didn't catch the name, I'm not sure who you're talking about.
No, position 6, Gonzalez, Garcia Gonzalez.
Garcia Gonzalez? Oh, he's not in here. They got both
Okay,
people from around, on the other side.
okay. Well, as soon as they come, as soon as that he comes, let's take that position. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the state expedited accusations calendar in the state court of Fulton County, Georgia. I'm Judge Melanie Williams, and at this calendar today, we will set bonds and address matters for those individuals who've been recently arrested, where the cases have already been formally accused and bound over to state court. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have the right to counsel today. As you can see, I'm not there with you. I'm appearing remotely by video. Which means any member of the public can log on and watch this particular proceeding. When I ask if you understand your rights, this explanation that I'm just given is what I am referring to. This proceeding is also being recorded. All right, who do we have first at courtroom 2? Oh, before I do that, have all defense attorneys, other than the issue we just addressed, had the opportunity to interview their clients?
Your Honor,
Yes, Your Honor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, the only mystery I have is Travion Wright.
And you have not interviewed Mr. Wright, or he's supposed to be on the calendar and he's not here?
You know, we went through everybody, but I believe they were going to bring him from somewhere or try to locate him, or something was going on.
Is Mr. Wright at courtroom 2 so Mr. McLean could interview him on the phone?
No, he's not in here yet. They're going to get other people now.
Okay, hopefully he'll be there shortly. Thank you. All right, who's before me now? Oh, Miss Kim, you have a question or concern?
Oh, no, I just have one person that I still have to interview. Position number 4, Bridgeport.
All right, is that party at courtroom 2?
What was the position, who was the person?
Number 4, Bridgeford.
No, we don't have that person either. They, like I said, they going around to grab some people, but I do have position 1, Mr. Body.
Okay, so hopefully, as they're brought, we can do interviews over the telephone so we can keep moving. All right, this is Mr. Body.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Body, your case is 25 CR 00142. I'm sorry, 1482J. And in this case, you are charged with battery family violence. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have that history, please?
2018 probation, 2017 probation, 2013 cruelty in the second conviction, 2013 FTA.
All right, and Ms. Tucker, this is your case.
Yes, Judge.
Please proceed.
We'd be asking for a $2,500 good bond with conditions no further contact with Victoria Moten and to stay away from 5655 Old National Highway in South Fulton. These facts allege that a verbal dispute about the victim not making the defendant pancakes led to him throwing tools from a toolbox at her face, causing her to bleed, causing a laceration above her eye and bruising to the side of her face. She stated in the warrant that they are divorced but still living together. We did attempt to contact this victim. We were unable to make contact, so if we could sound for her in just a moment. But based on the history, There was also a battery family violence charge out of 2011 that was dismissed. A simple battery out of 2000, 2001. Based on the history as well as the violence alleged in these facts, we're asking for that $2,500 good bond with conditions no further contact and to stay away. And if we could sound for Miss Moten.
All right, is Ms. Moulton present and wishes to make a statement? Okay, hearing, seeing none, we've appropriately sounded. Ms. Kim, is this your case or is this yours,
Yes,
Mr.
this is
McLean?
my case, Your Honor, actually. Mr. Bodie is 45 years old and he was born in Florida, but he has been here in Georgia for more than 10 years. Now, this is his place. They do have a child together who is 16 years old. We would like to request for a one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit to retrieve his belongings since he has to probably stay away from that location. I don't think Ms. Victoria is scared of my client. However, I was not able to contact her either. So at this point, we are assuming and not objecting, no further contact and stay away from that location, Your Honor. And we would like to request for signature on bond pretrial level 3. He is working at construction industries and also he has to pay for his 16 years old son as well.
All right, defendant's gonna receive a $2,000 good bond. He is to have no contact with Ms. Moulton and he's to stay away from that location on Old National Highway. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons as a condition. And I'm sorry, what was my reset date? My apologies.
As your reset date is going to be April the 3rd.
All right, and his case will be reset to state all purpose on April the 3rd, whereby aspects of the case can be revisited if necessary at that time. All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Bodie. That concludes your case at this time. Ms. Kim?
Yes,
Yes.
can you also have a third party transfer for his son who is 16 years old?
That's what I mean.
Okay, I'm he's 16. All right, he can coordinate with a third party to arrange the transfer of his child.
Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. That concludes this case at this time. Who do we have next?
Number,
Thank y'all.
number 2, Ms. Bowers, A. Bowers.
All right, good afternoon. Your case is 25 CR 001478Y. In this case, you're charged with battery family violence. Do you understand your rights today? All right, this is first arrest, so we'll go to Ms. Tucker.
Yes, Judge, and this is a dual arrest with position number 3 as well. The facts are the same, so I'm kind of going to go through the facts and they'll apply to position 3 as well.
Relationship between the two is?
Their mother and daughter.
Okay, and we have the daughter before me now?
This is the mother.
Mom.
This
Yes,
mom, okay, just,
Adaya Bowers.
Daughter, this is the daughter, the mother is next.
Okay.
oh, so this is position, okay, so this is 2, okay.
Okay, so the mother called the police stating that the daughter came home with an attitude, wouldn't let the dogs out, leading to a tussle, resulting in laceration to the mother's neck and face. The mother also said the daughter choked her from behind. When the officer spoke with the daughter said that the mother had slapped her first, which resulted in the tussle, which resulted in lacerations to the daughter's face and neck as well. Additionally, the daughter said that the mother threw a perfume bottle at her, causing a bump on the side of her head. Both parties were ultimately charged, considering injuries to both parties. We're asking for a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial with conditions no further contact with Kendra Bowers. That's in consideration of no history. And I'm not sure who owns the location, if it is owned or if it's rented, leased, but no further contact with each other should result in both parties not living there together, at least until they have a cool down period. This did occur just yesterday.
Okay. All right, Ms. McLeod, this is your case?
No,
Actually,
Your
this
Honor, I
is-
represent mom.
You represent the mom. Okay, Ms. Kim, please
Yes,
proceed.
I represent daughter, 24 years old. That location is actually for my client's place. She resides there with the two girls, 8 years old and 5 years old, who she has 100% custody, and the lease of the apartment is in her name. So if it has to be no further contact. It is her who's gonna be staying there. And Your Honor, we have no objection to signature on bond through pretrial.
Okay. Defendant is gonna receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services at level 1. She's gonna take the 1-day anger awareness course and have no further violent contact with the cross defendant, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. Is there anything additional? All right. Best of luck to you. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Number 3, the mother.
All right. Ms. Bowers, your case is 25 CR 001479. While you're also charged with battery family violence. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Howard, can you put this history onto the record?
Third, 2011 suspended license was the last.
Okay. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, because there's no violence in her history, we'd be asking for the same bond that you just gave to the daughter. So $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 with no further contact with Adea Bowers.
Okay. Ms. McLeod, do you object to the signature bond and no further violent contact?
I do not object, Your Honor. My client actually tells me that she wants to continue to have contact with her daughter. There are two beautiful grandchildren there that she's very attached to as well. So she definitely wants to have contact.
All right. Defendant's going to receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial at level 1. She's also going to take the 1-day anger awareness course and have no further violent contact with the cross defendant. Understand, ladies, that this is a second chance and a warning. If any similar incidents do happen, bond will be revoked essentially. So please govern yourselves accordingly. I am giving you the opportunity to maintain contact with each other. Is there anything additional from the state or the defense at this time?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you both. Take care. Have a good day. Who do we have next?
Number 13 and 14, Ms. Jones, T. Jones.
Tijuana Jones, that's the party we have?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. All right, your case is 25 CR 001483A. You're charged with simple battery family violence. And you also have 25 CR 001484A, in which you're charged with no license plate. Do you understand your rights today? All right, Mr. Howard, can you please give me the history?
Ninth arrest, got an open identity fraud out of Superior Court. On probation for dangerous drugs out of Superior Court. Got a false statements or writings, entering auto, felony theft by taking. On probation for that until 2026. 2012 simple assault trespass conviction.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Please pronounce your last name for me so I don't mess it up.
Yes, Your Honor, Melgiso.
All right, Ms. Melgizo, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The facts allege that on March 4th, 2025, the victim, Mr. Green, placed a 911 call reporting that he was assaulted by the defendant, Ms. Jones, who is the mother of his child. Detective Gross was assigned to the case. Mr. Green told the detective that he had recently broken things off with Ms. Jones. Mr. Green went to the location, which is 994 Mims Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. And that is the defendant's home. He went to the location to pick up his clothes. And as he was leaving, the defendant attacked him, punched him, and sprayed Mr. Green with pepper spray. We did talk to Mr. Green. He stated that they are in a relationship. They share one child. He wants to keep contact, and he is denying the allegations. He is here on Zoom, but the state's recommendation is a total $2,000 bond, surety bond, with conditions: no further violent contact with Mr. Green, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And the reason for the recommendation and why we're asking for a surety bond is the nature of the incident, the fact that the defendant has been arrested for violence against others several times, and she has an open case. So total 2,000. I believe the victim does want to speak, so if we can sound for him.
Okay. All right. Sir, please state your name. Well, I'm sorry, what was his name, Ms. Melgizo? Let me
Mr.
sound for it.
Green.
All right, what was his first name?
Quandarius.
Okay. Mr. Green, if you wish to make a statement, please raise your right hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear or affirm testimony you give today be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what would you like to tell me?
It was like, it was no, like, she never, I told them that she never pepper sprayed me. It was just a grabbing, like, you know, we get into it and she didn't want me to leave. I never even wanted them to press any charges against her at all. I didn't even know they was gonna press charges against her. It was nothing. She did nothing towards me. She never even really hit me. Like, it just, it throws me off. She just started her job. She got a new job. We got 3 children. It's like, I need her out. Like, and the bond, I'm trying, but we don't really have money like that. So I just need her out, like, with any help that you can get, because it's like, I told them that she never pepper sprayed me. Like, it never got on me. Like, she never even she pulled it out, but she never did nothing with it. She never hit me. She only grabbed my clothes and grabbed my pants. Like, she just was scratching my clothes. That's it. That's all it was. I don't even know how she get arrested for it.
Okay, I appreciate you coming to court making that statement. Mr.
Yes.
McLean?
If I may, Your Honor,
Very briefly, I think I got the flavor of this case. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, for the no license plate, we're asking for $500 surety bond.
Okay. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Tijuana Jones is 32. She has some college. She is studying to be a surgical technician at Atlanta Area Tech. She has worked at Grady Hospital doing various things, and I think that inspired her to continue in medical fields. She's done other work in the past, worked at Wendy's, etc. Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond, no further violent contact. They do share the 3-year-old together. Her 13-year-old and 10-year-old, she trusts him, even though those are not his children. She trusts him to watch them. I don't think, I think a signature bond would be appropriate.
Okay. Defendant is going to receive a $3,000 good bond. She's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim in this case, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. And that is for position 13. For position 14, she'll receive a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Is there anything additional from state or defense?
I'm sorry, what was the contact level, Your Honor?
No further violent.
Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
All right, that's so much to you, Ms. Jones. That concludes your case. All right, who do we have next?
Hold on. Number 10, Hickson.
What was the name?
Hickson. All right. All right. This is Lorenzo Hickson?
Yes.
All right, your case is 25 CR 001491C. In this case, you're charged with theft by taking. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let me check something. Mr. Howard, please, can I have the history?
19. They say he got an active warrant out of Alabama for larceny. I mean, Arkansas. On probation here, identity theft, fraud, robbery by force, 2015 felony theft by taking conviction, 2014 probation, 2013 FTA.
All right, thank you. Ms. Allen, please proceed.
Your Honor, this should be a felony. We have not received a response from the DA's office, but it will probably be upgraded later. He's currently on probation for multiple counts of forgery, theft by receiving and financial transaction card theft in two 2018 cases. And so based on the statute, this would be the third. This incident is from the 14th of March, while the defendant was working at the Vertigo Fun Park out in Johns Creek. He was seen on surveillance, taking cash from the cash register, as well as the extra money that is available in case there is needed change-making ability, putting these items into his pocket and leaving at the end of his shift. It was $374 cash. Again, that's on surveillance. The defendant was just convicted in a 23 SC 1867888 ID theft, forgery, and many counts, and has those two 2018 cases. Those are active probation warrant cases, Your Honor. We're asking for a $2,000 surety, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and to stay away from the Vertigo Fun Park. That is 11105 State Bridge Road.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Kim, is it
Yes,
you?
Your
I keep
Honor.
getting it wrong. Please proceed.
Yes, my client is actually, he graduated from high school 2009, and he was born and raised here in Georgia. He has his mother, auntie here. So he's not a flight risk, Your Honor, and he does not have a felony charges in the past. I don't think he will be a danger to the community. He also has to take care of one of his housemate who has a congestive heart failure. So he is a major caregiver. So we would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial level 3. And it seems like there was a misunderstanding, and he says that he's still employed right now, and he's doing personal assistant to the flower arrangement kind of job. So that's about it, Your Honor.
All right, defendant is gonna receive $1,000 surety bond. He's to stay away from the Vertigo Fun Park, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. As a reminder, he's reset to all purpose on April 3rd. Is there anything additional? All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Hickson. That concludes your
Just
case.
briefly, I apologize, Your Honor. If I could inquire into pretrial, is this gentleman also on the felony docket today?
Do you know Mr. Howard?
I'm sorry, I can find out.
I'll pull it up. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Because I'm kind of confused. There were actually 2 theft by taking misdemeanor, and then another warrant for ID theft. So
Let me find out.
Yeah.
Okay, we may have to revisit this perhaps, but for now, we're done with
Thank you.
Mr. Hickson.
Okay.
Best of luck to you. We'll wait for Mr. Howard to report back.
They gonna take it to the comment team. Okay, come on, Dixon. Number 5, Dixon.
And no status on position 6 yet?
And which one was that, Garcia?
Yep.
Yeah, he's here, but we don't have anybody take him to, do the breakout in the other courtroom.
We don't have to do a breakout. His attorney is already familiar with the
Okay,
case.
then. Sure.
Can we do that case, please?
We can sit on the front.
All right, Ms. Chancey, do you swear and affirm today that you will make an accurate translation from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, to the best of your skills, knowledge, and ability?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Garcia Gonzalez. Your case is 25 CR 001481A.
Buenas tardes, señor García González. Su número de caso es 25 CR 001 481A.
In this case, you're charged with battery, family violence, and 2 counts of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree.
Y en este caso, usted tiene un cargo por golpes y lesiones y por crueldad ante un menor en el 3er grado.
You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el absoluto derecho a guardar silencio todo lo que, cualquier cosa que diga con respecto a los hechos de su caso puede y será usado en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney, and your attorney is present on this Zoom conference to represent you today.
Usted tiene derecho a tener una representación de un abogado y su abogado está presente en esta conferencia de Zoom hoy para representarlo.
Additionally, you can see I'm conducting this hearing by video. It's being recorded and it's being live streamed.
Adicionalmente, usted puede ver que estoy conduciendo esta audiencia por videocámara y también está siendo grabada en vivo.
That means any member of the public can log on and watch this.
Lo que significa que cualquier miembro del público puede entrar y observar esto.
Do you understand your rights and how I'm conducting the hearing today?
¿Usted entendió sus derechos y cómo estoy conduciendo esta audiencia hoy? Yes.
All right, thank you. This is his first arrest, so we'll go straight to Ms. Tucker.
Es el primer arresto. Vamos derecho a la señora Tucker.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,500 good bond on the battery family violence.
Sí, su señoría, estamos pidiendo $2,500 de fianza por el cargo de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar.
And a $1,500 good bond on each of the cruelty charges for a total of $5,500 total good bond.
Y $1,500 por cada uno de los cargos de crueldad ante un menor, dando un total de $5,500.
With the condition to have no further contact with Wendy Weinman or the children.
Con la condición de no tener ningún contacto alguno con Wendy Weinman o los niños.
The facts allege that one of the children called 911 because he heard his parents fighting and mentioned to officers that this defendant has hit his mother before.
Los hechos alegan que uno de los niños llamó al 911 porque él escuchó pelear a sus padres y mencionó a los oficiales que este acusado había golpeado a su madre antes.
This victim was packing her suitcase because she didn't want to be with the defendant anymore, so he grabbed her ankle and pulled her off the bed.
La víctima estaba empacando su maleta porque ella no quería estar con este acusado más. Entonces él la sujetó de los tobillos y la tironeó sacándola de la cama.
He then grabbed a belt and whipped her with it.
Después él tomó el cinturón y le pegó con el cinturón.
Their other son was looking in the bedroom and saw all of this.
El otro hijo estaba mirando hacia adentro de la recámara y vio todo esto.
From this incident, the victim had red bruises on her ankle where she was grabbed.
De este incidente, la víctima quedó con moretones rojizos en el tobillo donde había sido ella sujetada.
We were able to get in contact with this victim. She said they're married and they live together.
Nos contactamos con la víctima y dijo ella que ellos están casados y viven juntos.
She also shared that this is not the first time the defendant has been violent with her, just the first time she's called the police.
También ella informó que esa no era la primera vez que este acusado había sido violento con ella, pero sí que era la primera vez que habían llamado a la policía.
She let us know that she is in fear of this defendant, especially now that he's been arrested.
Ella nos dejó saber que ella le teme a este acusado especialmente cuando ahora que él ha sido arrestado.
She has packed her things and the children's things and have left the location, which is why I'm not asking for a stay away.
Ella ha empacado sus cosas y las de los niños y se ha ido del lugar. Por eso no estoy pidiendo una orden de distanciamiento perimetral.
But this victim does want no further contact, and she did indicate she would be on the Zoom.
Esta víctima no quiere tener más contacto y indicó también que estaría en la plataforma de Zoom.
If we could sound at this time for Wendy Weinman.
Wendy Wyman.
Okay, before we sound for her, I'm sorry, that breakdown again was 25, 15, and 15?
Yes.
Okay, can we sound, if Ms. Wyman is present on the Zoom conference, please turn on your camera, raise your right hand. Will you sound as well, Ms. Chansey?
Sí, señora Wyman, por favor, está presente, prenda su micrófono para que la jueza pueda escucharla. Y su cámara está presente.
Okay, she's not required to make a statement, so we'll move forward. Mr. Ingram, please proceed.
Señora
Thank you,
Ingram, por favor, siga. Señor, perdón.
Mr. Garcia Gonzalez is 42 years old. Judge has no prior arrests.
Su señoría, el señor González tiene 42 años y no tiene ningún antecedente ni arrestos anteriores.
He has been in the United States for 25 years. He's had legal status here at least for the last 8 years, has a driver's license and social security number.
Él ha estado en los Estados Unidos durante 25 años, tiene un estatus legal aquí, por lo menos en los últimos 8 años. Él tiene una licencia de conducir y un número de seguro social.
We would be asking for a $2,500 cash bond, Judge.
Queremos solicitar una fianza en efectivo de $2,500, su señoría.
I'm sorry, you said cash?
Cash or surety, Judge. We are not asking for a signature bond at this time. Although he does have status, we're just concerned that an ICE hold may pop up. And if he does have an ICE hold, we would not pay the bond because we would not be able to get him back for court.
Understood. Okay, I just want to make sure you meant that.
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
Pedimos una fianza en efectivo, no pedimos bajo firma, debido a que podría él tener, me preocupa la idea de que tenga una detención de inmigración o que pueda aparecer una y él no la tiene. Si no la tiene, entonces no podría él pagar entonces su fianza, porque él no podría volver al tribunal.
All right, give me a moment to do some math. Give me 1 second.
Un momento, por favor, para hacer unos cálculos.
It's not my strong suit. All right, defendant is going to receive a $500 cash bond broken down as follows.
Entonces, el acusado va a recibir una fianza en efectivo de $500. Y este son los detalles.
I'm sorry, make it $400 cash bond.
Perdón, la haré de $400 en efectivo.
200 on the battery family violence.
$200 por golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar.
100 on each count of cruelty.
$100 en cada uno de los cargos por crueldad ante un menor.
He's to have no contact with Ms. Wyman.
Él no puede tener contacto alguno con la señora Wyman.
And no alcohol, drugs, weapons as a condition.
Y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, armas y alcohol como condiciones para seguir en esta fianza.
And he'll be reset to state all purpose because of the cash bond.
Y él tendrá una nueva cita a la fiscalía con el propósito de, o sea, debido a que esta es una fianza con dinero en efectivo.
And that reset date is April the 3rd.
Esa nueva fecha es el 3 de abril.
All right, is there anything additional from the state of the defense at this time?
¿Hay algo más de la defensa o la fiscalía en este momento?
Not from
Nothing from the state.
no, Judge.
Oh,
Excuse
All
me,
right,
Judge.
best of luck to you, sir.
Excuse me, Judge, this is Miss Lewis, I'm
La
sorry.
mejor suerte para usted, señor.
Is there any, I didn't understand, you said there's a no further violent contact or no further contact?
No further contact.
That's with her and the minor children?
I just her at this time.
Okay, just her, okay.
No, el contacto no es solo contacto violento, es no tener ningún contacto alguno con la víctima.
I will add that he can use a third party to coordinate transfer of any children.
Voy a agregar una orden de que él puede utilizar a una tercera persona o parte para el transporte de los menores y realizar su visita con ellos.
All right, that concludes your case. Best of luck to you, sir.
Eso termina con su caso. La mejor suerte para usted, señor.
And Mr. Ingram, that concludes your business today.
It does.
Take care. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Come on, we can go back to position number 5 of the victim.
And the interpreter be dismissed, Your Honor.
Yes, you may. Oh, well, please sound one time, Ms. Chancey, before you go.
Yes. ¿Hay alguien que necesite interpretación en español para hablar con la señora jueza? Por favor, avísenos, prenda su micrófono y su cámara antes de retirarme.
Hearing none. Take care, Ms. Chancey. Thank you.
You too. Have a good evening, ma'am.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Mr. Dixon, your case is 25 CR 001480Y. You're charged with simple battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. You understand your rights? All right, Mr. Howard.
19. Got an open trespass, terrorist threats out of state court. You want the case number?
I have it on the paper unless anyone else needs it. You can keep
Also,
going.
yeah. Also, open case for battery DV, trespass, hindering 911 call, trespass damage, 03 ag assault, possession of a firearm by convicted felon conviction. So we got the 2 open cases. That's it.
Okay. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $5,000 cash bond on the battery family violence and a $250 good bond on the cruelty for a $7,500 total split bond with conditions no further contact with Sandra Mendez and to stay away from 710 Casplin Street in Atlanta. These facts allege that when officers arrived to the location, they could hear loud arguing from the sidewalk. They walked up to the front door and saw out of the window that was right there at the front door the victim fall to her back. So they kicked the door in, believing that she was in imminent danger. Both parties were intoxicated, and this victim stated the defendant didn't do anything, but her hand was visibly injured. She claimed they were both wrestling, but when they went in, the victim was on the ground with the 5-year-old child that the parties share. We were able to speak with the victim in this case. You did hear that he has 2 open cases. Both involve the victim as this victim as the victim in those cases, and he's already under an order to have no contact with this victim and to have a third party transfer of the child. We were able to listen to some of the jail calls, and in the calls, the defendant tells the victim to tell you that she came over to his house because she wanted to talk and she was upset and the police came, which not surprisingly is exactly what she told our victim advocate. He also told her to keep apologizing to you, Judge. So she is on the Zoom. I would just take what she says with a grain of salt, considering he's already been intimidating her. But based on the fact that there's 2 open cases, he's been already ordered to have no further contact with her. Not only did he violate it in this incident, violated it today by calling her on the phone. We are asking for that $5,000 cash bond. $2,500 good on the cruelty for that $7,500 split bond. The victim did indicate she'd be on the Zoom. We could sound for Sandra Mendez.
All right, Ms. Mendez, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, what would you like to tell me very briefly?
Your Honor, I just want to say, first of all, we have 2 residents. That's his location. I brought the daughter over there. I was intoxicated. I did spaz out. Julius did not put his hands on me. I hit my hand from breaking the mirror. I wanted his daughter to see him because she hadn't seen him in a couple of months. and that is his house. He's a master electrician. He has work. He takes care of all his 9 kids, and he has his car and everything. And I shouldn't have went over there, and I end up spazzing out because I was intoxicated. And no one he did not put his hands on me, and he's not a threat to me and my 5-year-old. My daughter was screaming for her dad. It was the day after his birthday. He just wanted to see her, and I did not get no bruises or anything or fight with him. I was tearing up belongings in his house, and I was passing out and I blacked out. He did not put his hands on me. And that is his residence. I stay in the East Point residence. And we hadn't seen him in a while, and I wanted his daughter to see him because she hadn't seen him.
Okay. All right, I do appreciate you coming to court and making that statement. Thank you, Ms. Mendez. All right, Ms. McLeod, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. My client tells me, and I had the opportunity to speak with Ms. Mendez as well, that he heard the knock at his door. He went out, and his 5-year-old daughter was standing there. Not her mom, just her was standing there. She said she'd come over to see him and she wanted to use the bathroom. When he took her into the house to use the bathroom, came out of the bathroom, and Miss Mendez was there. He understands that they're not supposed to have any contact, Your Honor, and he tells me that he has his own place and they have not had any contact. She came to his place. He did not invite her there. This is his home. And I believe they were arguing, and the neighbors called the police. He wanted her to leave because this is his home. And she didn't call the police. I believe the neighbors heard the loud argument and called the police. My client denies that he touched Miss Mendez or anything like that, Your Honor. He just was asking her to leave because she's not supposed to have any contact with them. My client is not in a position to pay a cash bond. So I would ask the court to give him as low a bond as possible so he can get out of work. He tells me that he is employed. He just has a new contract where he's going to be installing generators in cars. And he also has a second job because he focuses on working so he can take care of his children. I understand the situation that they were not supposed to have further contact, but he certainly did not initiate this contact, Your Honor. So I would ask the court to take that into consideration and set him a reasonable bond so he can get out of jail. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, defendant's gonna receive a $6,000 surety bond, 5,000 surety on the battery family violence, and 1,000 surety on the cruelty. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. Based on the information that the incident location is his home, we will not ban him from that location. And as a reminder, he is being reset to all purpose on the 3rd, whereby aspects of the case can be revisited. Is there anything additional?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Dixon. That concludes your case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
ACDC can go
Has
ahead.
ACDC heard their rights?
No, they have not, Judge. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Who are we going to take first at ACDC?
Position number 7, Gillard.
All right, good afternoon. Please pay attention, all parties. This is the State Expedited Accusations calendar, and I'm Judge Melanie Williams. You have certain rights today, including you have the absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney today. And as you can see, I'm conducting this hearing by video. When I ask if you understand your rights, that is what I am referring to. All right, Ms. Gilliard, your case is 25 CR 001485Y. You're charged with theft by taking and criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights today? Yeah. All right. Mr. Howard.
So we had her on yesterday. I don't know if some warrants got added or what. I'll let the state go though.
All right. Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Gilliard was on the docket yesterday. She has multiple cases where she has been criminally trespassed and actually banned from Georgia Tech. She was on the docket yesterday for February 2025 and a March 2025 incident that is similar to the one you're hearing about today. When she was arrested for the March incident, she now has 2 open cases for those. She was successfully identified as being involved in this incident in front of you, and the warrants state that they were taken out once she was successfully identified. So this today in front of you is a October the 2nd incident at about 2 p.m. Police responded to the nanotechnology building at Georgia Tech. That's 246 First Drive. They, on surveillance, were shown where the defendant can be seen entering into the building and searching through lockers, taking the belongings of someone. Her name is Ms. Handley. Specifically credit cards, car keys, a coin purse, an LGE card, etc. So this defendant was caught on surveillance. A bolo was put out for her. She already has a permanent ban from Georgia Tech. And then in February, she was in the community room at Georgia Tech Police Department while part of the citizens were taking a class, and she rummaged through their items and stole things. And there was an undergraduate living center incident in February where she is also seen taking personal items from people and their belongings. So she currently has 2 open cases. This is the third. Her criminal history includes multiple convictions for theft by taking, Your Honor, shoplifting, financial transaction card fraud. We're asking for a $2,000 surety to stay away from all Georgia Tech properties, which she's already been appraised of and told in the 2 cases she was on the docket for yesterday. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we'd request a BHET, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 48 years old, and she has been struggling with homelessness, and I will be asking social worker to have a visit for BHET, definitely. Your Honor, she has no funds to make any payment. Already she has surety bond from yesterday, other cases, so she's not going anywhere until SAP. We would like to request for a minimum surety bond, $1,000.
Okay, what did she get yesterday?
I believe-
2,000 surety? Okay. All right, defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond, 500 on each count. She's to stay away from Georgia Tech in its entirety, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. Best of luck to you, Ms. Gilliard. That concludes your case. And I'm gonna ask for the social worker visit. We won't call it a formal BH, but we'll put in social worker at this time.
Thank you.
All right, who we have next?
Position number 8, last.
All right, good afternoon. Your case is 25 CR 001493C. You're charged with 2 counts of battery family violence. You understand your rights today? Is that a yes? We're gonna assume it's a yes. We reprise Ms. Glass of her rights.
All right,
Yeah.
All right.
17 total. 2020, well, it was arrested this year in Clayton County for trespass. I got a 2024 terrorist threats, harassment phone calls, cruelty in the second. 2024 ag assault, reckless conduct, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, cruelty in the first. 2023 harassment phone calls, NOLO. 2017 battery DV dismissed. 2017 FTA. 2015 simple battery DV dismissed. I think she out on pretrial. Yeah, she is. That's it.
Not on pretrial. Which
Yes,
case was
Your Honor.
the,
She's
which
got
case was
an
the
open case,
pretrial?
24 CR 000020C. It's a battery against a victim named Jody Edmondson, who is actually the mother-in-law of this defendant.
Okay, understood. All right, please proceed, Ms. Allen.
Your Honor, this case occurred yesterday, the 20th of March at about 6:15 p.m. The location is 1940 Fisher Road Southeast, apartment 58C. That is a residential facility where the victim in this case, Mrs. Tribble, is a client. It's a residential facility through an organization called Quest that helps formerly homeless or unhoused people get stable housing. So the victim in this case is 68 years old, and she has been a resident of the facility since before COVID. Police were called to the location when this defendant called police and said her grandma was trying to fight her. Police are very familiar with this defendant because since the first week of March, at least multiple times, the police have been called to the location. And this defendant is very clear that she stayed with her grandmother and now she needs to be evicted because she's not going to leave. Police have been called for multiple prior incidences of violence. And the case management for the elderly woman who lives at the location is involved, as well as this defendant's family and the victim's family, because they are related. The defendant is the granddaughter, although she is an adult. She's a granddaughter of the victim in this case. Her name is Annie Tribble, Tribble. So when police arrived on scene yesterday, Mrs. Tribble had been locked out of her residence. She was obviously bleeding from her face. Her glasses were on the floor at the bottom of the steps, and she reported that she'd been struck in the face by her granddaughter. The defendant in front of you said, no, she's drunk. She fell down the stairs. Mrs. Tribble does have a substance abuse history that has been triggered since this young woman has been in her home starting in March and refuses to leave. I've pulled no less than 3-4 prior incident reports. And there are multiple witnesses that report verbal abuse, exploitative behavior by this defendant, and repeated attempts to ask her to leave the location. Because honestly, why would you try to force your grandmother to stay and have you in her home when your mom and your aunties are all asking you to leave and the case manager for the organization is telling you to leave? The defendant in front of you actually refused to provide her name and information to the people who are part of the programming system there. So it took until Monday for people to be able to start the eviction process because she has been avoiding identifying herself. The police also noted that there were busted out windows at the location. We did speak to the victim as well as her daughter, Charlotte, who's here on the Zoom, her case manager, Mrs. Schumpert, who may have joined us, and her sister, Janice Brown, who all report that they have all had repeated conversations with the defendant in front of you, asking her to please just leave, asserting that you should be evicted while you're constantly engaged in violence with an elderly woman who's part of a program, seems to be a very strange choice to be making. And she refuses and says, you will have to evict me. When we spoke to the family members and the victim today, she actually has the inability to open her eyes because both of her eyes have been blackened as a result of this. So not only was she bleeding from her mouth as a result of being struck by this woman, she now can't see out of both of her eyes. And I would argue, and I will be arguing, that this is an elder abuse and exploitation case, Your Honor. So intentionally assaulting someone over the age of 65 and exploiting them by trying to take advantage of the fact that they're vulnerable and refusing to leave a location where they are receiving services through an organization is actually a felony. So today we're asking for $2,000 surety on each of the $3,000 on each of the 2 battery family violence counts, Your Honor, in order that this defendant, Mrs. Glass, have absolutely no contact with Mrs. Tribble and to stay away from the location, 1940 Fisher Road Southeast, apartment 58C, or wherever Ms. Tribble may be, because I understand she's currently trying to be moved to help her in this situation and find other housing. We'd also ask for an order that's no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. This young woman is on bond, is actually in diversion, won't be anymore after today, and has a criminal history and arrest history that literally only includes violence. So those 17 counts, maybe there's a failure to appear in there. All of them are about assaulting people, fighting in public. One of them is for assaulting her own child. And she's literally been begged by her family members to stop and to get out of her grandmother's home. So there's a problem here. We're asking for an MHET, Your Honor. Grandmother is absolutely terrified and has been asking for help since the first week of March. If you would like to sound for Mrs. Annie Tribble or her daughter, who is assisting her today, Charlotte, now is the time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm only going to hear from Ms. Tribble if she wants to make a statement very briefly, because this is just a bond hearing. Is Ms. Tribble present and wishes to make a statement?
Yes, I am.
Okay, very briefly, this is a bond hearing and defendant is entitled to a bond today. If you're going to disagree or add to what Ms. Allen is saying, that's not what I'm concerned with. I'm most concerned with any concerns you have for your safety and whether you wish to have contact. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I want to. I do. I do.
All right, thank you. Now, again, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. The thing I'm concerned with, again, is if you have concerns for your safety and if you wish to have contact with your granddaughter, that is of primary importance to me.
I don't want her back here. I'm afraid of her. This is her second attempt. She hit me in my face. She talks nice. She walks back and forth and how she throw my clothes out on the back porch like this is her. I don't want her back. I'm afraid of her.
All right, I know that's difficult to make that statement. I do appreciate you coming to court and doing so, Ms. Tribble. Thank you. All right, Ms. McLeod, would you please proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. The state mentioned that they would be asking for MHET, and I think this would be appropriate based on my conversations with my client. I do believe that she needs some help. And I also think that a social worker visit would also be appropriate because she tells me she's homeless. She's also unemployed. I do not believe she even has the ability to work, Your Honor. So I would definitely ask for a bond that is commensurate with her history, and definitely I believe she does need the help. An MHET, I believe, would be appropriate also.
All right. So what we're gonna do is defendant's gonna who wants to speak? No, I don't think you should. You're going to incriminate yourself. Please avail yourself of your right to remain silent. There will be other proceedings. This is just your bond hearing today. All right, defendant is going to receive a $5,000 surety bond, $2,500 on each count. She's to have absolutely no contact whatsoever with Ms. Tribble and stay away from that location or wherever Ms. Tribble resides. I am going to ask for a social worker visit and a VHET. I'm sorry, and a MHET. I want to reset her to the Thursday calendar. Is our reset date a Thursday, Miss Lewis? I'm not
That
looking.
it is, that it is.
It is. So we're gonna put her on the other Thursday
Okay,
calendar.
I got you.
All right, to make sure that we're tracking that that, and she's also to have no alcohol, drugs, weapons.
Thank
All
you.
right, is there anything additional?
Yes, I would like to speak.
No, Ms. Glass, I strongly advise against that. I do not believe you should make any statements. The state is listening and they will use whatever you say against you.
But at the end of the day, how am I getting two charges? And like she said, so I did not put my hands on her. I did not put my hands on her. So when you say attempt, that means
Okay,
I never knew.
perhaps you should speak to your attorney later, okay? I
I
don't
don't have
want
any money.
okay,
I get a single
all right.
I don't have any money. I don't have. I'm there. Can I speak, please?
No, very briefly, I'm gonna give you about 1 minute. What do you want to tell me? And please don't say anything about what happened,
I'm
okay?
not saying about what happened. I'm telling you, I'm asking for a signature bond because I've been there.
You will not be getting the signature bond
Even without
today.
a signature bond, I've got a mental health evaluation. That's what I came back here to order to do. I came back here to get a mental health evaluation. All my belongings are in her house. She's been allowing people to come in and out the house. Miss Charlotte Tribble has been stealing my information. I did
Okay.
not put my hand
Your
on.
Honor, I'm going to object at this
All right, I
moment.
understand.
Thank
Why
you.
don't you speak to your attorney after court regarding this, okay, Ms. Glass? And what we'll do is if she needs to get any items from that place, she can go one time with law enforcement. We'll add the LEO. All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Glass. That concludes your case.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Take care. Have a great evening, Ms. McLeod.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right, bye-bye. All right, who do we have next?
Number 9, Hernandez.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, your case is 25 CR 001490E, and you're charged with battery. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Mr. Howard?
Ninth arrest. 2022 pointing pistol at another. Possession of marijuana. Obstruction. 2021 probation. 2020 giving false name. Obstruction conviction. 2018 probation. 2015 simple assault trespass conviction.
Your Honor,
Okay,
that's
thank
my
you.
case.
Yes, please
Um,
proceed, Ms. Allen.
Thank you. On the 19th, so day before yesterday of March, at about 10:45 p.m., police in Sandy Springs were called to 215 Northwood Drive. The 911 call was made by a third-party witness who said that there was an altercation at the location between two men. Police responded, and on the scene, they encountered the defendant who was trying to leave and the victim who was visibly injured and bleeding from his face. The victim, Mr. Carmona, Rafael Carmona, Carmona, reported that he'd been assaulted from behind. He had no idea who this defendant was, and it was completely unprovoked. The defendant elected not to talk to police. I would note that he has been arrested for multiple felony level violence, Your Honor, and has on at least 2 occasions been allowed to plead down to misdemeanors. So an armed robbery was eventually conviction for simple assault and criminal trespass. Felony terroristic threats and obstruction was reduced down to misdemeanors. But he did have pointing a pistol and felony obstruction, I believe, in 2022. That's 22 SC 1844405. Based on the fact that the violence and threats to other people seem to be an ongoing issue for this young man, we're asking for a $2,000 surety. Absolutely no contact with Mr. Carmona. Stay away from that location at 215 Northwood Drive, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And we did try to get in touch with Mr. Carmona today and left him some messages. So if you'd sound for him in case he's able to join us. Thank you.
All right, is Mr. Carmona present and wishes to make a statement? All right, hearing none, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Honor. Francisco Hernandez has been in Georgia all his life. He went to high school, completed it here. Job include landscaping and remodeling. He would ask the court to consider the lowest bond possible, including a signature bond if that is possible, and if it's not, $1,000 signature bond. Surety bond would be preferred.
All right, defendant's gonna receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim, stay away from that location, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons of condition. Is there anything additional? All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Hernandez. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Petition number 17, Rouse.
Oh, sir, you had a question? I don't want you to interfere with your right to remain silent. What was your question, very briefly?
It's not a question. It's about the what happened. I was just defending myself.
No, don't talk to your attorney about that, okay? They're gonna use that against you. All right. Ms. Rouse, your case is 25 CR 001489B. You're charged with theft by shoplifting. You understand your rights? All right, Mr. Howard.
23. Got an open robbery. 24 SC 004315. Open suspended license. Open case out of Habersham County. Possession of marijuana, driving without a valid license. DUI of alcohol. Possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 with intent. Sale of marijuana. 2021 theft by receiving obstruction. 2019 probation. 18 FTA. 2012 shoplifting NOLO. 2011 same thing. And an 08 shoplifting conviction.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, one question. The it was an open robbery?
Yes, 24
Okay.
SC, yeah.
Okay, I have to make sure the robbery was open. Ms. Melgizo, please proceed.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. On March 7th, 2025, officers were dispatched to the Family Dollar store located at 3310 Dogwood Drive, Hateville, Georgia, in regards to a theft that had occurred. A Family Dollar employee stated that there was a verbal argument between the defendant and the employee. So the employee told the defendant that she will not longer serve the defendant and to please leave the property. According to the employee, the defendant stated that if she was not going to ring her up, Then she will just take the items and proceeded to walk out of the store without paying. The store employee was only able to observe one item, which was a laundry detergent. Officer watched the CCTV footage and identified the defendant. The footage shows the defendant passing all points of sale and leaving without paying the merchandise. The state's recommendation is $1,500 surety bond. Stay away from Family Dollar located at 3310 Dogwood Drive, Hayville, Georgia. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons loan bond. The reason for the recommendation is that the defendant has a high risk of reoffending. She has been arrested multiple times for theft-related charges. The fact that the defendant pled nolo to theft by shoplifting in 2012 in Gwinnett, and she pled guilty to the same offense in 2019 here in Fulton. And additionally, the incident occurred while the defendant was out on a $10,000 bond for robbery, and the case still open.
All right. All right, I'm sorry, Mr. McLean, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Rouse is a high school graduate. She does office work. She works in a company in e-commerce and maintains electronic listings and the like. She would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond, including a signature bond. It was easy to reach her friend, so she has stability with community contacts, which bodes well for not missing court. Thank you.
All right, defendant is gonna receive $1,000 surety bond. She's to stay away from that location, have no alcohol, drugs, weapons, and she's going to all-purpose on the 3rd as well. Anything additional from State of Defense?
Yep.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Rouse. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
I'm sorry, Judge. Can you please repeat the bond?
$1,000 surety.
Thank you.
All right, who do we have next?
Number 12, Jones.
All right, Mr. Jones, your case is 25 CR 001495C. You're charged with battery, family violence, hindering a person making an emergency call, obstruction, interference with custody, simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass. You understand your rights?
I'm not sure of all of those charges, but yes, I understand my rights.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Howard.
Hold on. This
This
is
is Jones.
Yeah, the second arrest. The last was 2018. Burglary, possession of a firearm, or a knife during a commission. He got first offender for those, and I think it ended in 2023. That's it.
Okay, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident that occurred on the 20th, so yesterday at about 2 in the morning, police were called to 183 Mount Zion Road. The 911 call was placed regarding an assault and an issue with the custody of a 4-month-old child. When police went to the location, they were unable to locate the specific residence. They needed a code to get in the gate. They called the 911 dispatch phone number for the person who'd called, and the defendant answered. Turns out after he took the phone from the victim, she used his phone to call 911. So when the defendant answered, as police were on scene trying to make sure people were okay and respond to this assault, he told them everything was fine, nothing's wrong, you don't need to be here, and they could hear a woman screaming in the background. Investigation revealed that the victim in this case, her name is Fatima, was seen to have a large amount of bruising on her thighs. She reported that she'd been held down and struck repeatedly by the defendant. They share a 4-month-old. Fatima Knight is the mother of the 4-month-old, excuse me. His initials are XJ. Mrs. Knight reported that she'd gone over to the location where the defendant lives because they were going to go take their infant to a doctor's appointment the next day. They argued. He became violent. He took the child from her and went into the bedroom and locked her out. She tried to use a butter knife to open the door. That wasn't successful. At a certain point, he came out of the door and grabbed her, took her to the ground, and held her down while he repeatedly struck her. He then shoved her outside and locked the door. She was outside when police arrived in her panties, and the defendant was still in possession of the 4-month-old child. He had to be ordered to give the child back to mom. He grabbed her, roughed her up pretty badly. Specifically, she had to use his cell phone to call 911 because he took hers, and then he interfered with that call and interfered with police getting to the victim and her child. I would note, Your Honor, we spoke to the victim today. She reports, Ms. Fatima Knight, she reports they're no longer in a relationship and they don't live together, but they do share a very young child. And she's currently in the hospital with that child, who has multiple broken fractures to his legs. She reported that those injuries that he's being treated for and DFACS is involved now is a result of the struggle over the child with the defendant in front of you. She said that there have been frequent arguments in the past, but this is the first time there's really been any violence, and she'd like no contact. And I would also add, Your Honor, that DFACS is involved, and they've ordered the mom in this case, Mrs. Knight, to have no contact and have the child have no contact with this gentleman. We're asking for a $12,000 surety bond. That would be $2,000 on each of the 6 counts. No contact with Miss Knight or the child, whose initials are XJ. Stay away from wherever Miss Knight may live, specifically her mother's house as well. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, Your Honor.
All right.
I don't know
I'm
if Miss
sounding
Knight
for
has
Miss-
been able to join us, but if you'd sound for her.
I'm sounding. Ms. Knight, if you're present, wish to make a brief statement, now is your opportunity.
Yes, I'm present. I don't know if you guys could see
Oh,
me.
no, you have to turn your camera on and raise your right hand if you want to make a brief statement.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to.
Okay, we
guys
can see
hear
you.
me?
Please raise your right
Okay.
hand. Do you swear or affirm testimony you give today be true to the best of your knowledge and give it under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, I'm most concerned with desires for contact and fear for your safety. If you disagree or wish to add the facts, this is just a bond hearing. There will be other opportunities to do so. What would you like to tell me, Ms. Knight?
I do disagree with some of those details, but you said I can't discuss that right now.
That's not what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with whether you have
Oh,
concerns.
yeah, I don't have fear for my life or my child life, but I do wish to have no contact.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there'll be other opportunities I'm sure a victim witness advocate will be in touch with you, okay? I
And Your Honor,
appreciate you coming to court and making that statement.
Just to be clear, this could be upgraded to a cruelty felony based on the injuries sustained by this very tiny child.
Okay. All right, Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Desmond Jones is 30 years old. He went to Booker Washington High School. He has worked as for a catering company serving one of our major airlines. Has done that for quite a while now. He also, before that, worked in public relations for a nonprofit organization. It was easy to get hold of his people. He knows how to stay away if the court orders that. The incident location was, I believe, listed in the computer as his address, and that's why I mentioned that. There shouldn't be any problem with him showing back up in court. We'd ask the court to set the bond as low as possible, including a signature bond if that is possible, and if it's not, then a $1,000 surety bond.
Give me 1 second. All right, defendant is going to receive a $3,500 surety bond broken down as follows: 1,000 count 1, 500 count 2, actually 500 on each remaining count for that total of 3,500. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case and the minor child in deference to the DFACS order. And he's also to have no alcohol, drugs, weapons. Was there a stay away requested, Ms. Allen?
From wherever she may be living, I believe she'll be living with her family. And if you wouldn't mind making it clear that no contact includes contact through third parties. So the defendant's family reaching out to the victim and her child is something that needs to stop.
Okay, if the grandmother or somebody calls, there's not much I can do about that.
No,
But
and that's not what I'm talking about, but demands to see a child, demands to have access to a child. There are multiple jail calls that were made between this defendant and the victim where he is very adamant that he will not be following through with any of the court's orders. He
okay.
will not be
All right. Well,
kept away from his
if Mr.
child.
Jones is clear that you need to comply with that defects order, you're not to have any contact with your child at this time while that's pending. I know you have a question, but it is best for you to speak to your attorney. You don't want to say anything that's going to get used against you. Do you have a very quick question about the bond?
Yes.
What's your bond question?
Is it possible for me to get it a little lower, maybe?
The bond will remain as set. Best of luck to you, Mr. Jones. That concludes the case at this time. All right, who do we have next?
Number 11.
Petition number 18.
All right, is it 11 or 18? Which one? We're going to Willis?
Position 18, Judge Ms. Willis.
All right, Ms. Willis, your case is 25 CR 001488A. You're charged with simple battery and disorderly conduct. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard. Oh, this is first arrest, so we'll go to Ms. Melgizo.
Thank you, Your Honor. On March 20, 2025, officers were dispatched to 81-3 Cooper Street Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, which is a residential home. They spoke with the victim, which is Miss Wheeler. She is 17 years old. The victim told the officers that she heard loud and aggressive banging on the door. She opened her door with the screen door still secured to see who it was. The defendant, Miss Willis, was at the door talking aggressively and attempting to provoke Miss Wheeler to come outside and engage in a physical altercation. The defendant spit through the screen door at Miss Wheeler, which contacted her in the face. Miss Wheeler stated that she was scared and did not want to engage in a physical fight with the defendant. We did speak with the victim. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated that the defendant lives in the same neighborhood as her, and the victim wants no contact and wants the defendant to stay away from her home. The state's recommendation is $1,000 signature bond through pretrial, $500 for each count, and no contact with no contact with the victim, which is Miss Wheeler, and to stay away from the 81-3 Cooper Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia location. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And the reason for the recommendation is the fact that she doesn't have a criminal history and the nature of the incident.
All right, I'm sounding for Miss Willard at this time. It is Willard, correct?
Yes, she stated that she was not going to be on the Zoom call.
Okay, we still sound just to make sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. McLean, any objection to the signature bond with a one-day anger awareness and no contact?
Correct, Your Honor. No objection.
All right, and well, I'm sorry, there was a stay away requested by the state, correct?
Correct, no objection.
Okay. All right.
If you wouldn't mind, based on information provided by counsel, we would request the order to also include medication compliance.
That's appropriate.
All right. Defendant is going to receive a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial, $2,000 count 1, $500 count 2. She's to have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from that location. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I am going to require that she comply with her medication and take a one-day anger awareness course. Is there anything additional from State or Defense? And it's going to be a level 1.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Ma'am, you have a very brief question about the bond. Don't say anything that's going to incriminate you. I'm giving you a signature bond. What is your question?
I stay at 81 she stays next door, so would that mean I can't go home, or would I have to find somewhere to live, or I can't be on her property, just next door?
Okay, so the question, the information I have is that she lives next door to you. Is that the issue? You can go to your house, but if you see her, you need to turn around, go back to your car or whatever, and wait for her to go in. Do not have any contact with that person. Understood?
Yeah.
All right. You're not restricted from your home, but do not linger outside either. All right.
Okay.
All right. Best of luck to you, Miss Willis. Miss
Thank
Wilson.
you.
All right. Who do we have next?
Number 11.
All right, good afternoon. Your case is 25 CR 001494A. You're charged with theft by shoplifting. You understand your rights?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Howard,
Who is this, Judge?
position 11.
Probably Hush.
Oh, Hosh.
Yes.
9 total. He does have a felony bench warrant. 2025 forgery arrest out of Tennessee, 2025 FTA, 2018 probation, 2017 FTA, 2015 FTA, 2014 theft by receiving first offender. He's wanted out of Henry, Coweta, and Gwinnett County.
All
That's my
right,
case, Your Honor.
please proceed, Ms. Allen. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor, this young man has 2 open felony theft cases that are in Superior Court now, 25 PI numbers. This incident is from March the 23rd of 2024, and it's this incident that was actually part of identifying him for his felony cases. So at about 5:30 p.m., police were called to the Hibbett Sports store at 1239 Moreland Avenue Southeast, and a report was taken and video surveillance was shared showing this individual on surveillance taking multiple items and leaving the store without paying for them. Surveillance was provided to police. A bolo was issued. A tip came in and information for this individual, because part of that tip included a name, was run. Their information was set aside, and then the 2 felony level thefts occurred. And when investigating that case, this individual was identified as the same individual. So ultimately, this misdemeanor may go along with that those 2 felonies that are now open. The defendant has a 2014 felony theft that they received a first offender on, but they do also have a DeKalb conviction for felony theft, and 3 warrants that are active, including one out of state, or no. This individual was actually arrested as a fugitive out of state in Tennessee, where they also have an open felony forgery case. So based on that extensive criminal history and multiple open cases, as well as the failures to appear because of the 3 warrants that are holding him, we're asking for a $2,000 surety to stay away from the Hibbett Sports at 1239 Moreland Avenue Southeast, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
All right, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hush is 28 years old. He went to Southwest DeKalb High School. He has worked for FedEx for half a year, Amazon for a half a year, and before that worked in restaurants as a cook. It was easy to get his address, and I believe his community contacts are multiple. He's got a brother local here, and there shouldn't really be any problem with keeping up with court dates and access and that sort of thing. Plenty of community contacts. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond, but if that's not possible, we would ask the court to consider a $1,000 surety bond.
All right. Defendant will receive a $1,000 surety bond. He's to stay away from that Hibbett Sports location, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. And he is going to be reset to all purpose on the 3rd. All right, is there anything further from State of Defense?
Number 16, Mr. PB.
All right, Mr. Peavy, your case is 25 CR 001486F. You're charged with simple assault. You understand your rights?
Correct, yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
4. Last arrest was in 96.
Okay. Ms. Melchiso, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, is this Mr. Peavy?
Yes, number 16.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. On February 9th, 2025, the victim in this case, who is Stanford Lowe, had a Super Bowl party at 1950 Sylvan Road, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. At the end of the party, the defendant, Mr. Peavy, started taking items that other guests had provided for the party. Mr. Lowe confronted the defendant and the defendant proceeded to pull his shirt and show Mr. Lowe a handgun in a threatening manner. Mr. Lowe stated that he knows the defendant and sees him out on a regular basis. We tried to contact Mr. Peavy, but we're unable to. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no contact with Mr. Lowe, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. The reason for the recommendation and why we think a surety bond is appropriate is the nature of the incident and the fact that there was a gun involved.
All right. I'm gonna sound for Mr. Lowe, even though he indicated he would not be here. All right. No, hearing none. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Richard Peavy is 67 years old. He's lived in Georgia all his life except overseas duty. Honorably discharged veteran. So except for when he was in the Pacific, Your Honor, he has been in Georgia the whole time. He's a graduate of Griffin High School in Spalding County, and that last arrest was in '96. We have plenty of community contacts here. He lives in a particular apartment and can stay away and have no contact. For all those reasons, we would ask the court to consider a signature bond.
All right. Defendant is going to receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services at level 1. He's to have absolutely no contact with Mr. Lowe, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything additional?
Nothing.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Peavy. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
We have a Larry Matthews in the courtroom. He's a bind over.
That party is not on the calendar.
He's already been charged. He was a bind over from earlier this week. He's already got a bond and he's already got a CR number.
Okay, so was it sent to the clerk's office?
Yes.
What number is, okay, what was the name?
Let's see.
Larry Matthews.
It's
Okay, before we do
24
that-
CR 003849E.
Okay,
Looks like he was on the pull sheet with a duplicate warrant for that case that was already charged.
okay. And did you speak to him, Mr. McLean?
I did, Your Honor. I got the 3849E, but what were the first two digits?
24 CR 003849E.
All right, sir, that's your case number. And what's the charge?
It's battery family violence, and he's on the SAP calendar for March the 27th. Looks like he's got a failure to appear.
Okay.
I'll speak to,
Shouldn't be on our calendar at all.
all right, I'll speak to somebody in my office about his FTA. I think there might be
Okay, so he's had a first appearance on this matter and shouldn't be here today?
Correct.
Okay, so Mr. Matthews, you have a bond in the first appearance. It appears that you're here on this calendar in error. Your case will be addressed, but you do already have a bond. All right, so there's nothing further for us to do for your case today.
So now let me ask you one question. So what kind of bond do I have? Because
Does anybody know what his bond is?
Surety bond. He has a 5,000 surety bond on the battery family violence.
All right, so you have a bond already.
It says in case manager that his bond was ordered forfeited, and he has an order that was
right. They mailed it to the address I don't supposed to be at.
but that's not what we're going to talk about here.
Yeah, that's not what we're here for today.
But I couldn't receive it because they mailed it to
No, that I understand that. That's not for this calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So Mr. McLean was asking, can I get a signature bond to return back to court? And he has my phone number. And
He's already had a first appearance, though, correct? Mr. McLean, can you give him a call and explain what's happening right now at some point?
I can do that, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm going to get hold, as I was saying, I was going to get hold of the person in our office who's most familiar with the business about the mail.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sit over there.
Okay.
All right, who do we have next?
No, she was telling me to sit over here so I can listen.
All right, who do we have next?
Sorry about that. That's what I'm saying.
15, Mitchell.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, your case is 25 CR 001492Y. You're charged for simple battery. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Give me one moment because he wasn't on the pull sheet.
Oh, he was.
He's
Yeah.
actually on the pull sheet for tomorrow.
I don't
Hold
believe
on.
he's got any criminal history, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll go straight to Ms. Allen. Ms. Allen, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from January the 24th of this year. The incident location is the Warner Brothers division of Warner Media. It's 1020 Techwood Drive in Atlanta. Ms. Brenda Rothman is here on the Zoom because she represents the victim in this case. A police report was made by the victim. Her name is Kathleen Ogilvy. She reported that in front of two other coworkers, while in the green room at their work, the defendant walked up from behind her and put his hands around her neck and grabbed her and applied pressure there for about 15 seconds. She was shaking and upset. She was obviously upset from this incident. She reported that as he grabbed her and squeezed her neck, he was shaking her head back and forth. Statements were taken from the two witnesses there on scene. She reported the incident immediately to HR and her supervisor and then called the police after that. Officers interviewed the witnesses there on the scene. They corroborated the statements made that the defendant walked up and choked her. Specifically, individuals were surprised and were unclear about what the situation was, why this was happening at all. We did speak to the victim today. She says that she's a coworker of this gentleman, that she was sitting at the table with her back to him when he came up and did this. She said she'd never had an argument with him in the past. She does not understand what led to this information or to this situation, excuse me. And as far as she knows, this is just completely random. She is terrified. She reported that after he let go of her, he walked out of the room backwards while pointing at her and gesturing at her. She still is unclear what the issue was, and again, reported that she's terrified. We are asking for a $10,000 surety, Your Honor, 12 weeks of anger management to stay away from that location, 1020 Techwood Drive. Absolutely no further contact with Mrs. Ogilvy and the two witnesses. That's Michaela Gilver, Gilver, and a lady named Aziza. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and to surrender all firearms. The fact that this was done in front of multiple witnesses at a place of work, and for no provocation, no issue ongoing. And I would argue, Your Honor, I tried to reach out to the detective who worked this case in January and did not get a response. It's concerning to me that this wasn't taken seriously at the time, and we're here now in March with a warrant that was issued. Grabbing someone by their neck is something that has a high lethality issue attached to it. So that's the reason for our request. Thank you.
All right. Is Ms. Ogilvy on this line and wishes to make a brief statement?
Yes, Your Honor, she is, and she does want to make a statement.
All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and give it under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You can put your hand down. Understanding there will be other proceedings. What would you like to tell me today?
Just that this has been emotionally and mentally difficult for me, and that I do have fear. I am afraid. Yeah.
I understand it. You know, that was difficult. I appreciate you coming to court and making that statement. Mr. McClain, is your client still employed at that location?
Your Honor, that I don't know.
Okay. So why don't you ask your client so that I'm not interfacing directly? Mr. McClain, will you ask your client if he's still employed there?
Mr. Mitchell?
He's muted.
I am, but I'm on paid leave.
Okay.
Right. Paid leave, although still unemployed.
Okay. All right, Mr. McClain, do you have any objection to a signature bond at level 1 and no contact with the alleged victim?
I do not.
All right. Defendant is going to receive a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial services at level 1. He is to have no contact whatsoever with the alleged victim. I'm not going to prohibit him from his employment at this time. However, if he sees her, he should he should turn and go the other direction and make management aware of the no contact provision. He is also to surrender any firearms he may have in his possession. He's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and will be reset for the notice. Is there anything additional? All right, best of luck to all parties concerned. That concludes your case, Mr. Mitchell. All right, who do we have next?
Williams.
All right, did Ms. Kim, did you ever have the opportunity to speak to position 4?
He's a medical reset.
Okay, 4 is medically
Again.
reset. What about 19?
He's here, waiting to be interviewed.
Is that Travion Wright?
Yes, it is.
All
Okay,
right,
that-
can Mr. McLean give the jail a call? I wish we had done that while we were doing other work. All right.
Y'all want 2060?
Judge Williams.
Yes.
On Mr. Mitchell case, can you do a fast track for him?
I don't think so. There's no fast track procedure. What would that be? I don't believe there is one. He's on SA. What day is he on SAP?
Well, you gave him a signature bond, so that means he have to get a court date in the mail.
I'm sorry, say that again. Miss Allen, what day is his SAP case? What day is he? Or Miss Lewis, what day is he on SAP?
You gave him a signature bond, Judge.
Gave him
So
a signature bond. This is Mr. Mitchell that just got up.
Yes, ma'am.
He has a $10,000 SOB through pretrial level 1. And he just need to clarify with the clerk's office that he has a good address on record.
Oh, you're asking about Mr. Mitchell, not the gentleman who wasn't on the calendar. Mr. Mitchell has a signature bond.
Okay.
I thought we were speaking about the other gentleman who didn't appear on the calendar, who already had a CR number. My apologies. Okay, so we're gonna wait for Mr. McLean to interview Mr. Wright, and we'll be on hold.
Can you answer the phone, McLean? They're calling you now.
Do you want me to call you or you would call me?
Yeah, you can call the courtroom.
Okay, is it 2060? Very good.
Yeah.
If you don't hear from me, just call me. I'll be kicked off Zoom, but I'll get back on.
In the meantime, Ms. Lewis, can we review the calendar? Since we're just holding on one position.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, for those who are ready to go over the calendar. Position, remember all the cases are reset for SAP for April the 3rd. Position number 1, receive a $2,000 surety, reset for SAP. Position number 2, receive a $3,000 through pretrial services, level 1, reset for the notice. Position number 3, the same, receive a $3,000 SOB through pretrial, level 1, reset for the notice. Position number 4 is going to be reset to tomorrow SEA counter for medical reasons. That's tomorrow is 3/22. Position number 5 is a total of a $6,000 surety bond, reset for SAP. Position number 6 is a total of a $400 cash bond only, reset for SAP. Position number 7 is a total of a $1,000 good bond, reset for SAP. Position number 8 is a total of a $5,000 surety bond, reset to the competency counter for 4/3. Position number 9 is a $2,000 surety bond, reset for SAP. Position number 10 is a $1,000 surety bond, reset for SAP. Position number 11 is a $1,000 surety bond, reset for SAP. Position number 12 is a total of $3,500 surety bond. We set for SAP. Position number 13 is a $3,000 surety bond. We set for SAP. Position number 14 is a $1,000 SOB through the jail. We set for the notice, but I'm gonna put that on the SAP counter if she doesn't make bond. So that case will also go on the SAP counter. Position number 15 is a $10,000 SOB through pretrial level 1. We set for the notice. Position 16 is a $3,000 SOB through pretrial level 1. We set for the notice. Position 17 is a $1,000 surety bond. We set for SAP. Position number 18 is a total $2,500 SOB through pretrial level 1. And we're waiting on number 19. Any corrections or go right back and things? Okay, good. Good deal.
Thank you. And thank you for making that statement about the Jones 13 and 14. That totally slipped for me. So I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, we're ready. Mr. Wright, your case is 25 CR 14870. You're charged with drugs not in your not in the original container and disorderly conduct. Do you understand your rights today? Is that a yes?
Say your rights.
I said, do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
9, on probation, possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 with intent. Possession of a firearm during the commission. It's 23 SC 188330. 2023, 2019 FTA, 2018 trespass conviction, 2018 theft by receiving conviction, and a probation hold.
Okay. Ms. Melchizedek, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. On March 20, 2025, officers responded to a call at Georgia State University, Library South, located at 100 Decatur Street Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia, regarding an altercation between two individuals. A GSU security officer stated that the defendant and another individual, a female, were yelling. The female was shouting, "Please don't hit me and stay away from me." The defendant was yelling profanities. The GSU security officer asked them both to leave the property. An officer identified the defendant and confirmed that the defendant had an active warrant out for his arrest in Fulton County for probation violation. Officer conducted a search incident to arrest and found 4 naproxen 500 milligram pills that were not in the original container. The state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 for each count, to stay away from GSU campus, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. The reason for the recommendation is the nature of the incident, the fact that there was a warrant out for his arrest, and due to the criminal history.
All right, we have a bond. He has a probation hold already, correct? Okay. All right, Mr. McLean? We can't hear you, Mr. McLean. Mr. McLean, if you're speaking, I hear nothing. Mr. McLean, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
You asked me something?
No, I said, Mr. McLean, we can't hear him. Mr. McLean, we can't hear you. There we are. Now you can hit unmute. I think you weren't joined to the audio before.
Can you hear me? Because
we can hear you
my
now.
thing always said that I was unmuted.
We're ready. Okay, go, please proceed.
Now, apparently a phone call is coming through, so now it's probably going to mute me for a second.
All right, let's try to unmute.
Okay. Okay, mine's still showing that I'm not muted.
Okay, we can hear you now. Please proceed.
Right, it always said I was not muted, but I don't know what's going on with the system. We have Travion Wright. We're ready.
Correct. We're ready. Please proceed with your argument. Did you hear Ms. Melgiso?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, that's quite unfortunate. We made our way all the way through and she's given us a bond recommendation. Ms. Melgiso, very briefly, without going through all the facts, can you just tell us, put that onto the record for Mr. McLean?
Yes, absolutely. This incident happened at the Georgia State Library. I mean, I'm sorry, do you want me to go through the facts again
No,
or just
just
the
give me
recommendation?
the bond recommendation. You can I'm sure Mr. McLean has read the warrant and spoke to his client. So,
Absolutely, Your
bond
Honor.
recommendation.
$2,000 surety
Okay.
bond, $1,000 per count. Stay away from Georgia State University campus, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Travion Wright is 25. He went to Banneker High School. He went through the 11th grade and will be working on his GED in the future. He works through Staff Zone Temporary Services and has done so for a couple of years. About a year ago, his grandfather passed away and he's been struggling with that. He does have the ability to get his mail, and he and I talked about a surefire way of making sure that he doesn't miss court, which is simply going to the clerk's office on a regular basis in person with ID. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond.
All right. Defendant is going to receive $1,000 surety bond, 500 on each count. He's to stay away from Georgia State University in its entirety, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. Is there anything additional from State or Defense?
Nothing.
All right, hearing none, we'll be in recess until tomorrow's SCA calendar. Take care, everyone, and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Y'all have a great weekend.
William.
Bye. Thank you.
Anybody need anything? You all right, Howard?
Yeah, I'm good. You on for
Having a-
tomorrow?
Nope.
All right.
Kenya Jackson and James White.
Okay.
And maybe others helping. Thank y'all.
All right.